All right, Schaefer, let's talk about the quarterback room because this is the topic that is actually, I don't want to say it's sweeping the fan base, but people do have opinions on it. There are probably multiple page threads on your message board about it and on other message boards about this. And it's for a guy that would be brought in, and this guy's name is Jalen Gramstad, who would just be there to provide depth. You kind of chuckled when I said something about fourth string or whatever it was. What do we know? Is this important? Will they even want him? Is this just a lot of words spilled for the sake of words being spilled?
I think this is a really cool story. I think it's a neat human interest story on the idea that an NAIA quarterback of the year or player of the year would go work out at Nebraska. It's at a very visible position. Obviously, he's a former Husker fan.
Yeah.
First of all, Brian Christopherson wrote a fantastic story on this. Would highly recommend everyone to check that out at Husker 24/7. It is like the meat and potatoes of it in Brian Christopherson's wheelhouse. Like the human interest stuff, perfect for him. Nails it. Everyone should check that out. He
Go
does a great
BC.
job with it. As it relates to how it actually matters for Nebraska, the idea would be you could add a quarterback that has played to have some experience, but he would ultimately be behind Heinrich Haarberg. So he's probably then running third on the depth chart at that point.
So ahead of Kalen.
Only because you're trying to prevent having to play Kalen a lot, but he could still play in 4 games. I think we've completely over talked about Nebraska's quarterback issue. Like they have 3 guys that they can play. One that you can get away with playing 4 times without burning a red shirt in Kalen. One that's expected to be your starter in Dylan Raiola. And here's a novel idea. A guy in his second year, with this coaching staff as a quarterback that now has a new quarterback coach that can help him out, that started multiple games for you, that we don't have to pretend is the worst possible thing if you have to play him in
X amount of games
and utilize him.
Yeah.
Like it's just, people have just made it seem like Nebraska is just devoid of any quarterback play if something were to happen to Dylan Raiola, and that's not really true. Like they're in a better situation than other programs.
Well, it's certainly been a better position than they were in
because
last
they at
year.
least have an idea of what Heinrich Haarberg is. They can build game plans to figure out how to utilize it.
And how much of this too is believing?
And this is all built on the idea that you wouldn't have the guy who's going to play for you anyways.
And how much of this is on the idea that they are like actually fans of where Haarberg has developed now?
They like I say this all the time, and I didn't say it as much because I didn't work as much for the last 4 months, but they like Heinrich Haarberg as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
There was confusion by the Nebraska staff last spring when it was asked if he was going to play another position. They went to him when they got here in December, and they wanted him as a quarterback because they like his athleticism. I think he has the ability to do other things in the run of a game for them, but he is viewed by this Nebraska staff as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw at times in the spring game, he threw an absolutely beautiful through tight window ball to the tight end. I cannot think of who it was in the moment during that spring. Like he looked good at times in that spring game. Now, is it the most ideal scenario? No. But it's not one where you're going to go out and get another quarterback that's going to play over.
Well, and can I give you something too? It's not the most ideal scenario if your starting quarterback gets hurt and you have to have a different starter for another couple of games. Like, I've ultimately landed on that, where like if you want an extra body in there just for the warm and fuzzy of it, like more power to you. Like I'm not going to be super critical of that, because like people are like, the lesson of last year is you need more depth, and it's like, yeah, sure, if you believe in the depth, but if this addition, if they were to offer him, it seems like he would say yes. So if that happens and that makes you feel better about the room, like who am I to judge on that? I just don't think that that's going to be the difference between an injury and them going from 9 to 8 wins versus 9 to 5 wins or something.
Yeah,
like that,
and I guess I would also sort of phrase it like this. I mean, I don't know that this kid, and I don't want to assess his game. I've never watched him play. But I don't know that the likelihood that he's dramatically better than Andrew Bunch, or even Andrew Bunch, who was the third string quarterback used a few years ago in a similar situation where
Troy,
he joined the roster, and then ascends to that spot because Jebbia leaves. Yeah, I like, this is their quarterback picture, and they've clearly known this is what it's going to look like since last December, and they continued to pass on adding a quarterback.
Yeah.
they are okay with it. At some point, the fan base has to be too.
Yeah.
I guess they don't have to be okay with it, but they can at least accept the idea that the coaches, the people in the best position to make that determination, have decided that they don't need to invest more resources on another quarterback.
Yeah. Michael Severe just brought in a glove for Nick Green.
Incredible.
Thanks,
awesome.
Michael.
That is so good.
We didn't even know which hand he is.
Yeah, are you a right-handed thrower, Nick?
No.
I mean, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Riley writes, Gramstad sounds pretty understanding that he'd be at the end of the quarterback room. He just loves Nebraska. He and his family love Nebraska. He'd be fun to root for.
That's
but
awesome.
Little actual impact on the field.
Right. And
Yeah.
so that's where I want, it's a really cool story, but in the same vein as Matt Damon's nephew coming to walk on to Nebraska,
Forgot about that.
it's more of a human interest thing, not likely to impact the football team.
And yet, for some, it would be like, sweet, another guy.
Right.
It's like, all right. But you said it last segment? They already have a fourth stringer. It's not
they like Luke Longvall.
It's not like they just have 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks do they have right now? 5 or 6?
I think I have 5.
Yeah.
There's another
Waukee
walk-on from
Waukee?
Mississippi,
Woke?
Jack. Woke.
I thought he left. I thought
Did he
Woke
leave?
went broke.
He might have left.
No politics, but I thought Woke went broke.
He might have. There's things that have happened
Always
that
go
I just
broke.
don't have,
Yeah.
drilled in on. But
Go Watchy, go Brachy.
Longvall, I think, is their 4th guy.
Mike writes, if he is the best NAIA quarterback, he is still an NAIA quarterback.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the level he plays at.
Mm-hmm.
He can't be a different thing if he's not at that level.
I hope he joins the program just because then it'd be
It'd be a really cool
it'd be a
thing.
cool story.
I just wouldn't bet on ever seeing him play in the 2024 season, which is what people
Weirdly would
want him to join the program for.
Is this mainly then just about Harburg, like this discussion?
Yeah, I
Like
just
not
think it's
believing that he is
right.
one
I
of
think
those
it's
guys.
the idea. First, the idea is that Nebraska will never have a quarterback that makes it through the season healthy again.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. The second one is that if something happens to the quarterback, oh no, Nebraska can't win another game because they don't have someone that can come in, which isn't true. I understand the hesitation of Harburg because it didn't look good at the end of last year.
No.
It's also not last year's offense.
Yeah.
It's not last year's offensive skill sets.
Different
and
coach,
players.
different coach in there.
And currently, all of the guys that were hurt last year are now healthy. So,
Knock on wood.
we don't have to assume that they're going to be hurt again.
That's nice.